You realize this, there's a multitude of implications of relationships. The first is the stronger the bond you have with your market that you sell and serve, the longer they will buy, the more they will buy, the more they will trust, the more they will refer, the more they will expand their relationship. The stronger the relationship with your team, the more they trust that you have their best interest at heart. By the way, here's a real simple distinction. Human beings are silently begging to be led. The caveat is they only want to be led by someone who has their best interest at heart over their own. So you already inherently have within you, me, I want someone to help guide me on what to do, why not to do it, where to go, what choices to make. I just want to make sure I trust that they are not doing it for their own best interest, that that's subordinate. That's a reward they get for basically helping helping enrich me first. And enrichment can be health, it can be protection, it can be experience, it can be entertainment, but enrichment means lots of things. So that's the first thing. But relationship building is something many young people aren't very good at because they're self consumed, they aren't good socially, they don't have a lot of appreciative, empathic respect for anyone else, they have a prejudice, frankly, against older people. They're very, very technology driven, but not humanistic. And I think it costs them. I'm trained to look at gradients of enhanced performance, and I'm trained to operate everything I do for myself and my clients in what I call the exponential zone, which is operating way up here instead of the incremental zone. There are tangible, there are intangible denominators and drivers of that. The intangible go with relationships. We've been working, for 3 years on a book that's not done yet. And originally it was called Relevancy Rules, and it was a double entendre. One, they're the rules for being relevant. And number two, it's that without relevancy, you have nothing because everything in our lives flows from a font from the foundation of which is relevant. If I'm not relevant to you, you're not going to believe me. You're not going to buy from me. We have a concept we called access denied, and I'm not going to remember it unless I look at my notes because I haven't talked about it for a half a year. But it's all these ways that we are being denying access to somebody's trust, belief, commitment. But it all ties to how strong, how true, how authentic, how credible, how desirable, how comfortable, how bonded and galvanized is the relationship. But back to relevancy, people don't realize that in our technologically driven world, it is so easy to go from relevant to irrelevant. It's easy to create negative prejudice. You can send me a text, and that text could say something, and you could mean it in good spirit. You could say, "Go F yourself, Jay," and you mean it. If you and I were talking, you would have a little smile like you do on your face. You'd be well intended, and I'd laugh. But if you said it to me and I don't have that inflection, I can go, "Oh yeah, well F you, asshole," and it can elevate and accelerate and ruin. People send each other texts and emails, and they're PO'd if I don't respond right away. Geez, I get 1,000 emails a day. About 10%, even the people that I know and want to talk to, go into spam or junk. I get text all the time that I'm so busy to respond to. My phone is where I look at most of my emails. And if I open it, it goes into old mail on my computer and I forget about it. But there are networks, not networking, but there's different networks we have in our life with different relationships. And they are dynamic because today's world is so moving and it's not static that networks change. And we have to be very mindful of the dynamism required to keep a vigilant and a qualitative connection control of different network relationships as our relevancy factor can rise or diminish. So, and the idea of how can I serve you, how can I add value, that is the most lame and blatant thing to say. Oh, how can I add value? I mean, you shouldn't have to ask. You should basically study and understand and add value. And you shouldn't have to go, oh, how can I add value? Because when I say how can I add value, what I'm saying is I want you to do something for me. What do I have to do first? Just do it. But you can't do it if you don't really understand. Yesterday I did a really interesting experiment. Tony Robbins, who I have a very unique relationship with, does every year a youth program for young adults. They're usually 14 to 18, I think. And he wanted me to do an experiment for a short period on entrepreneurship, on business building. And I did some really cool things, and they weren't biz op type. They were very sophisticated, but torqued down to a young mind. And then I did Q&A. And one said, well, how can I be like Jeff Bezos? And I said, okay, what do you know about Jeff Bezos? And she said, nothing. I said, have you read any books about him? Have you read magazines? Have you studied the analysis of what makes him? There's a book that came out about a year ago. I wrote a testimonial for it. He took all of Bezos' belief system that are chronicled in his annual reports, and he distilled it into an operating manual for achievement. I said, have you done any of that? No. I said, well, you just want the stature without, I was nicer than I'm saying to you. You want the reward without the work, right? And she was a little shocked, and I think they might have been a little, but I thought, this is a denominator of the attitude of a lot of people. I want the reward without the work. I want to basically, and I know that, I mean, I agree with you. The opportunities online are profound. And anybody who really grasps them and aligns it with a true superior benefit value proposition and a product that is significantly different and superior and understands even the outer periphery of online and digital and social media marketing can do very well. But they can't make $1 trillion in their underwear working 1 hour a week while watching reruns of Breaking Bad. I mean, nothing good happens if you don't invest the effort. And the effort is knowledge and intelligence gathering. It's proficiency gaining. It's experimentation and testing. And it's personal and business growth and development. And when you think you can't do that, then you're destined. The people that do very well when they get trained online for online marketing, anything, it could be Amazon selling, it doesn't matter. It's not what I'm all about. But they don't. That's the starting point. It's not the end. The ones that think that alone is the end normally don't do well. So if you look at, I call them denominators, drivers of great achievement, online, offline, it's wanting to have more advantage than everybody else. And advantage is not learning a tactic that everyone else knows. Advantage is using that tactic to evolve, to innovate, and most people don't get that.